Hi, I'm Jade Diamond, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 4 single archetype personas. I've found these and developed this from working with women all over the world, and I found that there were these kind of 4 personas that were keeping women stuck. Usually, women fall into one of these 4 categories, and it's holding them back in the love department. So, I'll share this with you, and hopefully, it will give you some of the clues that you've been looking for about why you've been stuck in love. So, I'm Jay Diamond. I'm a dating and love coach, and I help purpose driven women 35 plus to clear deep energetic love blocks, ignite their feminine power, triple their confidence so that they can naturally attract and keep their soulmate. So, yeah, I found these, kind of developed these archetypes after working with women all over the world and seeing that there were certain pockets, like these 4 main types, and why they were keeping stuck in love. Why were they struggling with the dating life, or perhaps if they were married, why they were coming up against the same problems. And for each archetype, there's kind of like a set of behaviors or thoughts. And once you work out which one you are, then you can start to think about, okay, how do I shift out of this into a more healthy, joyful relationship so that you can be the woman who has it all in love. So let me share this with you. I've taken notes, so because I'm terrible for going off at a tangent. So I want to keep myself on track today. The first one is clever clueless. Okay, so she is the woman. If this is you, you actually have no idea what to do with men. And you probably don't have a good blueprint for relationships. Now, the blueprint is, when you grew up, what were relationships like at home? And this doesn't mean you had to have had a terrible upbringing. It can just mean that it really wasn't great either. And so there's no great blueprint for how to interact with men in a healthy way. So the clever clueless, often the relationship with at least one parent was problematic. The clever clueless is often single for long periods of time. Now, here's how you know this might be you. You actually don't tend to get a lot of attraction from men or attention, and you often get friend zoned. So you tend to feel looked over. And what you find is that although men love to chat with you and converse with you and connect with you on a mind level, when it comes to actually asking someone out, they tend to gravitate towards your friends, and that can be quite hurtful. So clever clueless is a very clever, astute woman, and she loves to learn. Sometimes there are cultural or religious beliefs, like the family culture beliefs, that are holding you back with regards to how you think about love, relationships, and marriage and commitment, and what that actually means, and what you think that will mean for you in your life moving forward. Now, this is usually subconscious. Very rarely do we walk around the world thinking, oh, well, my dad always said, marriage is a trap. And so now my subconscious belief is marriage is a trap, and that's why I'm having so many issues in relationship. No, that's not how it goes. Usually it's completely under the surface. The clever clueless tendency is to be a bit anxious. So you might freeze when you do see a guy that you like. You feel a bit silly. You find yourself doing stupid things. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say in the company of men. You don't know how to act. And you find that you start to act a bit strange and you think, what am I doing? This isn't me, right? Now, one of the big things about the clever clueless for you to understand why things aren't working so well for you is that you tend to connect with men from the head instead of the heart. Okay, so calling in this beautiful, high level, gorgeous, high quality man that you want, there needs to be this open heart connection. And that means a level of transparency, a level of openness, a level of like honoring who you are, whether you geek, or you've got strange interests, or you just feel a bit awkward. Like, it's really owning that piece of you that is going to help you move forward. So because you kind of just connect on a mental level, okay, you talk about the clever things, the things that are really interesting, all the the difficult things that are happening in the world perhaps, then you're not connecting at a deeper heart level. And so they see you as an amazing friend, but they kind of put you in that friend category. And so because you fear rejection and you're in your head thinking, what does this person think of me a lot? Again, you're not acting with authenticity all of the time, but you're also afraid to say what you really think and feel. So this reduces the transparency in the heart-to-heart connection. But, deep down, you're desperate to connect. You want to feel safe with that guy, but it just doesn't happen. So, you're the person who everybody's like, oh my God. And actually, probably all the archetypes, I can't believe that you're not with anyone. You're wonderful with friends. People really trust you. They really rely on you. You have lots of fun with your friends. It's just that when you're in the company of men, something seems to change. So I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but I have a quiz to find out which archetype you predominantly are, because sometimes you can be elements of two. And so you want to find out which is the one that I'm leading with, and then get some recommendations about how to shift with that. So that's Clever Clueless. The next one is the Sultry Dreamer. So these are the ladies who get lots of attention from guys, from partners, but they often settle for the wrong ones. So they often find themselves situationships, non-committal. They end up being the side chick. And a big part of this is that deep down, she doesn't believe that she can have what she really, truly desires in love, often because it hasn't been easy for her in the past. She's often very beautiful, very attractive. She turns heads, but she likely leads with a sexual energy and the chemistry that happens between two people. So she meets someone, there's this amazing chemistry. She goes off into like a daydream. Oh my God, it's amazing. I feel so amazing, and she looks to this guy for validation, whether she knows it or not. And so she's not actually really looking at the long-term compatibility and that deep matching of inner values. She's actually just kind of like knocked out by the chemistry and sort of puts a bit of a blinder on to the things and the places where actually their values don't align, or he's not actually available because he's in a relationship with someone else and you're just his side chick, and he's not really planning to change that. And he might bring you all the flowers and say all the most amazing things, and you tend to fall for the words of a person rather than the action. And this is something, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Wish I'd have brought some water. The thing that the sultry dreamer needs to really get is that you need to focus on actions, not words. And you tend to fall for people's words. And you're more easily swayed by looks as well. So yeah, you are the person who's like, oh, it's just because I'm a romantic. But you end up in not romantic situations quite a lot. You're someone who would say is a fool for love, and you tell yourself that it's because you're so romantic and you want the romantic dream, which you do, but what you do is you're more attached to the potential of someone than the reality, and that's the piece that really needs to change, along with some other things. So you can tend to kind of dream and project what you think the relationship's going to be like, or who that person is based on the chemistry, rather than who they actually are, and this gets you in trouble over and over and over again. So what you really need to do is really focus on your desired future. What do you really want at this stage in your life? Do you just want to keep going for someone who's kind of chemistry and it's a hot and then it's a cold and it's a hot and it's a cold? Or do you really want to develop a long-term relationship with someone where you both have the same values and it's going to last? So take the quiz and find what the other recommendations are for you, because there's a few for you that are going to keep you out of trouble. So the golden goal getter. This is the woman who, she wants it, she goes and gets it. She is like the woman who knows what she wants in her life, and she's not afraid to go and get it, which is an incredible quality. She's often she's achieved a lot. She's very successful. But often she maybe doesn't feel she feels that she's maybe not as successful as she could be. because she knows that she's capable of so much more. She's kind of really on this quest to achieve and succeed and, experience a lot in her life, which is amazing. And in no way am I telling you not to do that. However, when it comes to relationship, the same go-getting energy, which often translates into a more masculine rather than feminine energy. So we're not going to go into all of this now, but masculine and feminine energies are universal principles. Everything has masculine and feminine, including us, women and men. And so we tend to lead with more masculine or lead with more feminine. Or we can, once we learn about both, we can move between the two. But these women who's a golden go-getters often have underdeveloped feminine energy because they see feminine as weak. They see, perhaps they've seen women that they deem to be feminine that have been manipulative, and they say, I'm never going to be like that. And so they land more in their masculine energy, and they don't know how to make things happen in their life without being the one who's hustling. So they often get burnt out. There's often kind of high stress and anxiety that can go with this piece as well as the success. So, when it comes to the relationship, what doesn't work, if they want someone who's a more masculine energy person, what's not working often for the golden go-getters is that they end up being the one who's carrying the emotional weight, who's leading the relationship forward, who ends up being the support all the time, paying for everything, sorting everything out, and I am a strong woman. Like, everybody knows that. But the strongest women still need and deserve support. The strongest of us still want someone to put their arms around us and say, you know what, babe, I've got this. Chill. I'm going to take care of this. We still want a kiss on the forehead. We still want strong arms to fall into, or soft arms to fall into. At the end of the day, just because we're kind of out there getting shit done doesn't mean that we don't want to be cherished and adored. Just because maybe we're not wearing glitter and like flowy skirts every day. That's not what I'm talking about. So, but if you're leading with just your masculine energy in relationship, it's not going to happen for you because you don't provide space for it. You want to be the one that's kind of always in control, always leading things, always saying, let's do this, let's go there. It should be like this. It should be like that. You have high expectations, and sometimes those expectations are a little unrealistic because you are a firecracker and not everybody is. You're like, I would get this done in 3 minutes. And then you start the criticism. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? And it wears down on the relationship. And what happens is you're not getting the support that you really want and you really need. So you end up going to and being in these relationships where it starts great. And then you find again, I'm the one that's putting everything in. A man can't meet me. So the golden goal-getters, often what I'm hearing is, he can't meet me. This man can't meet me. Like, he's not available for what I want. He's not, he's kind of leaning back too much. He expects me to do everything. He's lazy. Because you're attracting a man who has a predominant, more feminine energy. So the balance is actually good. And if that works for you, then great, you should do it. But if you want more taken care of, this is the place kind of that you need to look, which is having a really good look and think about, why do I need to be in control? And often, subconsciously, it comes from a place of coming from struggle or coming from fear or not trusting the masculine. And so your own kind of wounded masculine comes up and says, I'll take care of everything. So those of us who were raised in single parent families by our mothers and our father was not that present, this can be very, very prominent because there was no man to save the day. So you had to be it, right? And so we don't know, we have to learn how to allow a man in to support us. Like, it's a learning curve because you think you are, and then you don't realize that you're not doing it. And it's like, well, it takes me 5 minutes. So why don't I just do it myself? But then you end up doing everything. So there's so many different aspects that we can go into with this. I could talk about this all day. But with this, often what you'll find is guys are massively attracted to you, but then as it peters off, you'll hear, it's not you, it's me. I think you're great, but it's not the right time. Or you've had the best intimacy and you think, oh my God, this is going to be forever. But you'll hear them say, I just don't think I can give you what you need. Or they'll just sort of slowly back away. And you don't understand why. And it's because they can't see where they can provide for you. And that's a whole other conversation. And yes, you want to provide for each other, but you're usually the one that's offering the most, and there's a problem. Because strong women deserve to be taken care of as well. So, take the quiz. Noble nurturer. This is the last one that I found with my clients. Again, just doesn't matter their age, the background, where they're from in the world, the language. These have been 4 consistent things that I found. I'm not saying it's everything, but they can usually boil down to these 4 categories. The noble nurturer. She is the woman who tends to attract relationships that are unbalanced. So it sounds a little bit similar to the go-getter, but there are significant differences. So she does tend to be doing all of the work, the leading, maybe the paying, but it's often because there's an issue with her partner. So she often tends to attract broken guys who need a lot of healing. Someone's in a transition stage, such as going through divorce, separated, lost the job and needs to get a new job, but it's taking quite a long time. Or at a very sort of different stage of life, maybe they're really, really building their career, or they money-wise, things aren't good for them, or focused, so they might have an addiction, there might be a health issue, as I said, job loss. But the piece with all of this, the main piece, because yes, life happens to all of us, but there are ups, there are downs. Life can throw a curveball to any of us at any time. So this isn't about, everybody has to be perfect all the time, or they're not a high value person. No, that's absolutely not how I roll, because shit can happen to anybody in a minute. And we need to have compassion. However, the big piece with the noble nurturer is that she tends to attract people where she is in helper and rescuer mode over and over and over again. So the noble nurturer hopes that she can love or encourage someone enough to have a breakthrough or to fulfill their potential. So she sees the potential of this person. Sometimes the noble nurturer is a very spiritual person, very intuitive. Maybe she's in the works in the caring industries as well, not necessarily, but she's very kind of attuned to people's feelings. And because of that, she can feel and sense another person's pain, but she can also feel and sense their potential. Now, this is what the noble nurturer needs to understand to start to break this pattern, is that not everybody is ready to step into their potential. Sorry. Not everybody is ready to do that. Sometimes they might do it after a number of weeks or months or years. Sometimes they never do. And so the noble nurturer tends to hang in there thinking, I know this can be great. I know, he's a great man deep down, but he's just had all these problems in his life, or he's just had this run of bad luck, but there's another run of bad luck and another run of bad luck. And he knows that if he kind of keeps on with a sob story, he's going to get all of your energy and attention and resources sometimes. So you might be attracted to partners who are a lot younger, or have much fewer resources. So, the positive side of you is that you are a natural nurturer. You have a lot of compassion, but you're more attracted to the potential than the reality. The problem with a noble nurturer is that resentment can build, because you're carrying the heavier load. And there's usually a reason for this. Subconsciously, there's often the belief that if you don't carry that load, you won't be loved. And so you resent it, and sometimes can even get passive aggressive. And sometimes even the other partner can feel controlled. And this is like, much more in kind of the codependent aspect. The other person wants your help, but resents it at the same time. You want to help, but you resent having to give it so much. And so resentment can build on both sides. And so it can be a bit of an effort to keep things balanced. What you don't want to be doing is going into relationships where you're having to pick up the slack. Now, these kinds of women, it might be that you were given a lot of responsibility at a young age. You might have been the eldest sibling who had to take care of all the younger siblings. Again, you might have been in a single parent family where you had a lot of responsibility, and you were kind of, you took on that role at a very young age, or there were things that were happening at home that you were worried about, and you kind of have that sense that you have to keep tabs on everything in order to stay feeling safe. There might have been some dysfunctional elements growing up, like maybe somebody had an addiction of some sort, or a mental health problem. And so you're very attuned to people's shifts in energy, the way that they think. Like you probably can read people very, very well, very quickly. Sometimes you might have more insight onto that person than they do in themselves, because you have that gift, that skill. But what can happen is you tend to be the looker-afterer. And so we need to look at, what about looker-aftering you? You want to get into a relationship where there is an equal balance, that you can both take care of each other and you can both be strong. And so it's a sense of starting to trust the strength in other people, and the strength in yourself, and working with that to break the pattern and break the cycle of like attracting all of these broken people into your life. And sometimes, when you've been through very difficult experiences, and I know I've certainly, done this, I've experienced difficult stuff, and I don't want to leave anybody to feel difficult stuff by themselves, because I know what it's like to go through things on your own. But what happens is you end up picking up the waifs and strays wherever you go, and your life for you becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, because you're not putting the energy and attention on yourself. Essentially, you're not prioritizing yourself. So that's the 4 single archetype personas, the 4 dating personas of why you may be stuck single. So clever clueless, sultry dreamer, golden goal getter, easy for me to say, and noble nurturer. So I'd love to hear what you think about this. Definitely take the quiz. Even if you think, that's me, sometimes it can be another one that's actually more prominent. The way that you show up might be another one. And you can get some insight onto how to start to shift this, because that's the most important thing, so that you can create the healthy, joyful, wonderful love that you so desire and deserve. So I'm Jay Diamond, dating and love coach. Hope you've enjoyed this today, and I am sending you lots of love. You can find my website jaydiamond.co.uk. I am Ms. MS Jay Diamond on Facebook.